150 people, 25% are PhDs, and our revenue is 76 million, or income budget, right? We served about 2,000 customers, and this is all about technologies. In terms of valorization, what we do is to identify these technologies, around 250 almost, and we have to prioritize them in order to focus on some of them. Otherwise, I mean, we don't have enough resources to try to value all of them. And this passes as well by establishing the protection, the strategy for IPR of these technological assets. That's why we have about 250 patents, which are classified in among 60 families. But more and more we do IP digital records because they are cheaper, are quicker, and especially, I mean, we have to find the balance because, you know, about patents, I mean, it's a long process. I mean, it's costly. So it's another good way that we have discovered recently. All of this for the purpose of licensing and just selling services to our customers, and as well sometimes creating spin-offs. We are part of the ecosystem. We have more than 100 contacts of VCs and incubators, accelerators, all of them. We are part of this ecosystem, but not only. We really put a focus, high focus on training more and more, especially all of our staff, scientific staff, technological staff, because they need to know about market. You know, I mean, they are very good producing technologies, but they need to focus more on how to make these technologies arrive to the market. Anyway, I mean, another way is to create a spin-off. So the impact of the spin-off we had 10, just one died recently. You'll see later on. This has created about 100 jobs. The total revenue of these spin-offs, some are 10 years old. It's been 15 million euro, and we write up 32 million euro. In any case, we have 9 spin-offs. 3 of them have been created in the last 3 years. Okay, since we have some KPIs, what do we do? I mean, what's our mission? Valorization. I mean, probably you all know. I mean, it's clear. We have to support and guide all the Eurecat technological units we call. Probably if you are in the RTOs, I mean, you have labs, laboratories. So we have to help all these people and try to translate the research and innovation they do, transforming them into products and services that can generate impact in society, impact in terms of well-being, in terms of jobs, in terms of economical return for the organization, but as well for the environmental positive, in this case, impact, or just to minimize the negative impact. And we do this all through the actions that you already know. I mean, the first is to detect and evaluate these assets, these technologies, accelerate the development to bring them to the market by many means. Before, of course, we have to protect it and exploit it. So it's all about IPR, establishing good strategies for that. We collaborate intensively in the internal campaigns, internal projects that put funds to create these new technologies. Once we have a spin-off, of course, from valorization, we have to advise and accompany these spin-offs to guide them, to help them, not after the creation, but especially not before the creation only, until they are incorporated, but after is very important too. And of course, I mean, this is all about people. So we have to encourage all the entrepreneurship and all the entrepreneurs just because, I mean, they work for having a salary at the end of the month. But I mean, some of the ideas, they have to go farther, and we have to push that this activity is bigger and bigger. So we have to empower researchers and technology transfer through this innovation management. In the end, all this activity, of course, in a legal frame has to be, and an economical system has to be performed, has to be managed, have to be negotiated. So we do all the activities that any valorization department could do. Who we are? I mean, in Eurecat we have 12 people. It's a team of 12 people that we are organized in some units. The first is scouting, following the activities I presented before. The second one is IPR management. It's all about how to protect these assets. And later on, we have 4 main areas: biotech, digital, and industrial. And the last one is what we call sustainability, which is about environmental policies and issues and all that makes respect with environment. So this for us is transversal to all of them. This is the way we are organized. And finally, another unit, which is ecosystem and entrepreneurship. Okay, these technology assets, where do they come from? What are our sources of knowledge? to identify this technology and push them to the market? Well, first is the internal innovation program, as I mentioned. The second is the results of all the public projects, the projects which are public funded from not only at the European level, but other levels, even national, whatever. And I mean, grant agreements and all these kind of agreements, you know. And the third is the private contracts with customers, in which we sometimes contribute with technologies that are already done, and we have to just bring them to another status to do something different and more evolved for them. But this sometimes generates IPR, and then we share this IPR with them, or sometimes we exploit this IPR together with these customers. In any case, I mean, we are really concerned on licensing mainly, and of course, sometimes we create a spin-off. I'm going to talk about a few minutes about this, but creating a spin-off is not a goal itself in Eurecat. It's not a KPI. How many spin-offs will you create per year? It's just a way. It's another way to put technology in the society. Two important aspects that we really put the focus on to try to succeed. And I put succeed in brackets because succeeding is not always easy and obvious. But on one side, the maturity of the assets. And I think that this graph shows you a very, very important question for us. I mean, most of the scientists, we detected that they are focused on TRL, and I'm sure that all of you know about TRL. But we really put a focus on the other indexes. I mean, manufacturing readiness level, market readiness level, product development level, and adoption readiness level are very important. I mean, it's a kind of mix. So we try to do our best in each of them. And on the other side, about talent and entrepreneurship. I mean, in the end, these are people. So what are the financial returns from commercial exploitation? I mean, royalties, down payment, sales of equity. Well, this is the model that we have at Eurecat, in which any profit coming after having deducted the investment and the IPR costs for the exploitation of any technological asset, what we do is we distribute 1/5 among the authors, one or how many, I mean, whatever they are. I mean, they can be several. And the other remaining part is distributed according to the board indications and the rules we have to empower, again, R&D on that field specifically, or the activity of valorization, the sales team, and other purposes. In any case, we are always try to keep in mind as well that to dominate a technique or to have some skills is not the same that to have a technology and solid and consolidated technology, and still is far away from what it means to have a product or service that can be marketable. Sorry, that doesn't pass now. I don't know why. It's not going. I can pass the hitting block. Oh, I'm sorry, but I can pass the next. Something happened. Can you still see the? I mean,
we have the slides in backup, so if you want, I can share from my own screen, and you just say next slide if you prefer.
Yeah, because something went wrong, and I can pass my slide. Do you have it here now?
No, we don't see the screen now.
Oh.
It's loading. This is Milan's screen.
I don't know what's going on.
That was the next slide.
Now, right? Now it's going on. Okay. So which are the key aspects to consider when we do setup or we think about setting up a spin-off? Well, mainly these 6, okay? Eurecat alignment, I'll post all of them. Eurecat alignment with the technology units or labs of Eurecat and the strategic technology. The status of the asset, I mean, as I was mentioning, TRL, MRL, and IP. The impact that this technology can have, which is about what the problem is solving, the market opportunity, the customers, the sales channels, and so on, the environmental impact, and the feasibility, technical feasibility, the use cases, if it's going to be scalable, and if we have enough competence and skills to bring this further, and as well the compatibility with other potential existing products in the market. Of course, all about the economics, forecasts of sales, OPEX, CAPEX, capital finance, and the investment and investors. We need to push this. And last, which is the most important, team. So internal entrepreneurs, if we have the potential CEO or CTO, CSO, and who would be the partners or the stakeholders to carry on. This is very important, but not only. I mean, there are some other crucial aspects that we want to take in consideration before we say, okay, let's incorporate a new company. And at least it has to happen one of these 6 criteria. One is market. I mean, if there is a market opportunity that requires really a high acceleration that we cannot achieve internally, then it's a good reason for the spin-off. Investment, if the investment required to do so overtakes the internal capacity and the financial capacity. The third is scalability. I mean, if the market needs delivering of the service in a scale that we cannot first afford, and secondly is because we are not going to be never a manufacturing plant or someone who's going to manufacture for mass market. I mean, we are an RTO. We have this very clear, and the manufacturers are the companies already existing in the society. Sometimes business mates can be another criteria. A company just pushes us and says, why don't we do this together? So we are not going to lose these kind of opportunities. If it's a good partner, we go through. And if creating the spin-off brings us the potential of being contracted by the spin-off itself for new R&D developments, because the spin-off doesn't have the structure or the infrastructure to do so, that's great. I mean, this is extra income for the RTO, and it's diminishing risk for the spin-off. And finally, new profiles. I mean, any spin-off growing needs new profiles. We will see the case today in a few minutes. So we don't have some profiles. We don't have CEOs. We have CTOs. But when these profiles have to be 100% dedicated to the new company, otherwise, I mean, we would do the things wrong. Then it's another reason to find partners and to find other people to carry on and to put these activities in the market. Okay, as I said, nine spin-offs. You see one in gray. They still exist. The first row have been created since the Eurecat was born up to 2014, and the last ones, the row below, has been created in the last 3-4 years. Okay, finally, valorization services. Companies, organizations come and knock our door to say, hey, you're doing pretty well. We like the methodology, the way you're organized, and the knowledge you have on that. Can you help us? Okay, we do this under demand. We are not very proactive on pushing for these services. It's really not our job. We have a lot of, we are very busy in the valorization process of the assets that we generate ourselves. But sometimes we cannot say no. So we do opportunity validation and scouting. We do technical due diligence for several tech assets. We give customer support with which they need some help for incorporating new spin-offs, and we assess in IPR strategy. And as well, I mean, we training internal or external, I mean, indoor or outdoor. We train about valorization methodologies and all this kind of stuff. I know you have questions for this part, which I try to be quite in time. Sorry for the little interruption, or maybe if you have questions, I can answer, please. In the last part of the webinar. And now I want to introduce you really a couple of people, very passionate people, amazing people who have created, with the help of Eurecat, REINFORCE3D. And this is all based about CFIP technology, carbon fiber, continuous fiber injection process. Sorry. And my last slide is just to put the focus on what we did before and after the incorporation of this company. Before, what we did was supporting financially the inventor and trying to welcome this technology that was shared between one RTO before Eurecat existed. It was one of the original centers that was part of the creation of Eurecat. We did the IPR management. We tried to push and increase the TRL and build the MRL approach, and we set the valorization roadmap. The moment that we've seen that was really good and solid enough to take another risk, which was creating the spin-off, as Mark and Blanca will explain immediately now. Then after the incorporation, Eurecat is a co-founder and partner of the company. We support in finding capital. We do the networking dissemination for new leads. We give them access to Eurecat facilities, and we do specific developments on the service contract for REINFORCE. And that's all. And I'm really pleased to pass the voice to Mark Crescenti, who was the IP of this amazing technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel, and thank you also to all the attendees for being here in this webinar. I will share my screen. One moment, please. So I will explain you my story and my perspective as inventor of CFAP technology. Well, since I was a child, I have been always really passionate for making things in the field of mechanics, and this passion brought me to do a master's degree and bachelor's degree and master's degree in mechanical engineering. And during my degrees, I already started trying to apply all the knowledge that I was acquiring in order to make more complex things. Here, for example, you can see one of the projects that I developed during my degrees. It was an external combustion engine, and all these projects were really useful for me in order to boost creativity. I mean, understanding creativity as the capacity to solve problems through knowledge, but also the capacity to think out of the box and have new ideas beyond the current project that you are developing. And those projects were really useful also for me in order to learn beyond the technical field. I realized that it was really important to make sure that that the technical challenge, okay, that was what really motivated me at that moment, was really aligned to a need in order to make success and to be able to bring the technology to the market. Also to think about how to make a business. I mean, what will be the path from the prototype to the market, and which will be the steps, and how difficult could be, and also which stakeholders I will need to reach the market and to make business. Also, I learned a lot about intellectual property in terms of making sure that what I was developing could be patented or not, and if yes, how to patent it, and learn about all the process of patents, which is quite complex, as you may know. And last but not least, I also learned about when to stop. I mean, when you're developing a project, you get a kind of in love with the project, okay? But at some time, you need to do a rational analysis to analyze all the different factors that you need to take into account to make to succeed with that project, and decide if it's worthy or not to continue with that project. And if not, obviously, start thinking on a new one. So after my mechanical degrees, I also did a master's degrees in composite materials. And at that time, it was 2011, more or less. That was the time when the 3D printing technologies, some of them were democratized, and 3D printing was more accessible. And I actually started using 3D printing machines, started printing parts and designing parts for 3D printing. That was really motivating for me, and I was really interested in this field as well. And while I was printing parts, I realized that the parts were quite weak, especially between printing layers. So I started thinking and applying all my creativity, all my passion, all my knowledge in order to have a solution to this need. What I thought as a first point was to try to reinforce the part during the printing process. But I realized that in this way, I will still have the printing layers, and the strength between the printing layers would be still very low. So that was not the best approach for me. So I started thinking a different approach, and I thought, okay, why do not reinforce the part after the printing process instead of doing it? And this is when the idea of CFIP technologies came to my mind. CFIP technology is based on printing a part using state-of-the-art machines, 3D printing machines. We print the part with channels, okay? And then what we do is we inject inside the channels the continuous fibers simultaneously with liquid resin. So at the end, when the resin solidifies, cures and solidifies, we get the final reinforced part. So this new concept of reinforcing parts provides really breakthrough capabilities. The first one is that we have a really high freedom for placing the fibers in all directions. Also between printing layers, which was one of the objectives for me, to be able to reinforce not only in the layer, but also through layers. We can reinforce any material. I mean, we are users of the 3D printers, and we can use any existing 3D printing technology and material available in the market. This means that we can reinforce polymers, technical polymers, flexible polymers, but also we can reinforce metals and ceramics. At REINFORCE3D, we have several parts made of titanium and reinforced with continuous carbon fibers. And this is something that that cannot be done with the other approaches for reinforcing part during the printing process. And this is something really breakthrough by itself. And we always say that our technology is not only a reinforcing technology, but we can also join different parts by injecting the continuous fibers through them, achieving fiber continuity between them. And this is also really interesting by itself, because we can reinforce efficiently big structures without using big machines. So once I had the idea, I started doing the first experiments in my kitchen, and there is where I could demonstrate the basic principle of the technology. I could demonstrate that the fibers and the resin could be injected simultaneously inside cavities, inside channels. And I also built my own 3D printer, Prusa printer, as you can see, in order to manufacture print parts and try different geometries, trajectories, and materials. So in 2014, I became researcher in a new center created at that moment called CityCom. I proposed the center to continue developing the technology together. And there we could achieve important milestones. The first one is to demonstrate that the technology is able to drastically improve the mechanical performance of parts through laboratory tests, as you can see in this image. We submitted the first patent of the technology, and we also achieved the first early adopter. So in 2016, CityCom was integrated into Eurecat, and Eurecat continued pushing the technology forward with much more resources, because CityCom was a really small center with few resources. And in that period, we could also achieve really important milestones. The first one is to demonstrate the technology in real use cases and proven in relevant environments. We submitted a new patent covering the more IP of the technology. We got more projects with more early adopters, We also achieved R&D projects funded by the European Commission, but also by the Spanish government and the Catalan government. And we also got several awards. The most important was the GAC World Innovation Award. So all these milestones were key in order to convince an investor partner, Diego Capital. And in 2022, we founded REINFORCE3D with the final aim to do business with the technology. So in REINFORCE3D, we built a team dedicated only to the technology and covering all the different areas that we needed to cover in a company. I mean, not only technical development, but also business development, marketing, financial, production. The main challenge from the technical point of view at REINFORCE3D was to go from the technology, from prototypes to products that could be sold in the market. At REINFORCE3D, our main product is the injection machine. You can see it in this slide, okay? As you can see, this machine is not a 3D printer, and it's not a machine that you have ever seen before, because the technology is disruptive from its concept. Nobody was injecting continuous fibers. I mean, the fibers were placed on surfaces, were pulled through mold, but anyone was injecting them. We are the first ones injecting continuous fibers inside parts. And why anyone was injecting continuous fibers before? Because the fibers were not preparing for being injected. So for this reason, we have also developed our own fiber format, the fiber format that enables the process, okay? And this is also one of our products, the fiber itself. And we also have developed a software in order to assess the feasibility of a design for being injected by our technology. So we have sold products, and the products have been proven by our customers. I mean, the system is already proven in real environment, not only by us, but by our customers, and really successful with. We are successful with this, and we have submitted more patents. We have received more hours. We are doing business in new markets and sectors, and also selling our products worldwide. And all this is not only a matter of technical development, but also business development, sell our products, and also last but not least, be able to produce all the products at industrial scale in order to satisfy the growing demand. So, well, this is my presentation. Thank you very much. And now I give the floor to Blanca Garro, which is the CEO of REINFORCE3D. Thank you very much.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And let's jump into the last phase of the last presentation. And before starting, let me check that I share my screen. And since picture says more than 100 words, I would like, before starting my presentation, to show you what REINFORCE3D is nowadays. this was the first commercial that we did for REINFORCE3D. Once we have to share to the world what we are and what we are doing. And let's start from the beginning. Good morning to all of you. My name is Blanca Garro. I'm the CEO of REINFORCE3D. I'm an engineer with an MBA, so I'm not a scientist. And what I bring to the team is basically my experience and my leadership. And my mission in this team was basically, okay, now we have an incredible technology that can have a lot of potential, but how we translate this into a business model, how I needed to do all the questions that need to be answered in order to have profit out of this great idea that Mark recently did, okay? So why? Because I'm sure that many of you have seen this movie, and we all entrepreneurs like to think that one day we are a bunch of colleagues working on the garage of our father, working to build a company that one day will be on the stock market. We also do that. We believe that. However, in this phase, we need to make sure that and be realistic, because starting a company is not like a Hollywood movie. We need to prove, once you are out there, you need to prove that you are not alone. This is quite important at the beginning. And even ourselves, if you check the pictures of our picture in July 2023, be realistic. We were in a space that was not our own, in a laboratory that was not our own, working on a prototype that actually was the third or the fourth one that we had to build, all with the support of the RTO. Even the cloth that we were wearing was from, in this case, Eurecat. So don't fool yourself. And in this case, thanks to Eurecat, they gave us what we needed. We needed the R&D infrastructure and tech transfer expertise. They gave us the credibility and the early connections when you needed the most, which is at the beginning. And they accelerated all the path for the research and the company creation. So they gave us the speed that we need and the platform to grow. But when you jump into building a business, what you need to do is to have a plan, because what you don't have, well, at this point, I'll always be realistic, time is money. So that means that with the money that they give you at the beginning, you have that amount of time. So have a plan and gain speed and focus on that. That's why what we did, the first thing was focus on the technology, but as Mark says, stop in a certain time, in a specific point, say, okay, this is enough, turn your solution into a product. Should not be perfect, it should be a good product, but not perfect. So your MVP, your minimum viable product, and secure your IP. This is what we did when we started. And during that, I was working on the market. I needed to recognize a real added value and the technology, and be sure. It could be that you start with recognizing a first added value, and this may pivot during the time. That's not an issue. That's actually evolution. That's normal. And the point is that once you identify your added value, you recognize your key markets and segments and applications of your technology. That's what we also did. Why? Because resources is exactly what we don't have, hundreds and hundreds of them. So we need to be like a sniper. Okay, I know that I need to go there to this market, which is what I'm going to gain the most. Because once you have the market, you aim your customer. You recognize, okay, this is the one that I'm sure because of how they work, how they collaborate, how is their goals as a company. I can solve them problems that nowadays they cannot do it. And actually, once you are working with customers, what they like to think is that even if you're a small or a new company, you are agile. You can work with a lot of solving their problems, have this fluently. And that's why you have rapid iterations with potential customers, because even if it's a customer that you think it was a really good customer, maybe at the end it's not, no problem. That's expertise. It doesn't matter. Jump to the next one. And that's why you need to be fast in that reactions. And once you have a detected customer, you need to start working with them with your technology. Because as Mark said, one of the main challenges that we faced was that, okay, we developed our product and we were using the technology, But it's completely different when a customer that knows nothing about you, your technology, or the machine start to using it, and you need to test all that could happen with the product before it's out in the market. And that's also what we did afterwards in the next year with the early adopters. And once you have done all that is when you start selling. You need to start selling as soon as possible. For sure, the product should be a really good one and everything should be ready. It's not that you sell just anything. No, it should be something good. But that's why with the support of Eurecat, we were able to do it. And because also once you start securing your revenue is when you secure your funding. You need more gasoline, more money to buy more time with your company to go to the next phase. Okay, and this is what we have been doing all since we started the company. We have our story. During 2013 to 2021, we started the R&D. We found REINFORCE within the 2022 with the inception, but we were sure. I mean, we have a goal, and it was that by the end of 2023 we will have our machine out of the market in the market. Then 2024 it will be the first year where the first customers will try the machine. The early adopters program is how we call it. So by now in 2025 is what we call stabilization. We start building our network of customers. Even right now, we have service providers that have our technology and start producing and injecting parts for other customers in their projects. We released the design checker, which is the software solution that Mark mentioned, in order to support on the validation of the injections to our customers. And what comes next? Well, 2026 industrialization, thinking about how to produce more, how to be bigger, and new evolutions on the hardware and software, so that by 2028 and 2030, we have the expansion. We can become a real worldwide company, providing and having customers in all around the world, continues with our new developments and software upgrades. So by as soon as possible, but being realistic, hopefully 2030 to become a brand. So I hope that one day you will recognize our logo in many products and say, yeah, this has been reinforced, strongly reinforced with us. That's our goal. And how we have done that, you see that on the bottom, you see the financial goals. We started with a C fund, thanks to Eurecat or VC, but that was not enough. As a company, you need to continue looking for more resources, and that means look for grants, look for loans. It's true that we did a fundraising in 2024, and actually now we are looking for the next one and the next year. So it doesn't stop. Even if you're achieving your goals, you should continue working and looking for more resources, more money, more people, more, and think more. Next. There's never a stop. Right now, we are a completely different company from what we started. We started explaining our technology and how great CFIP was. Right now, after all this experience with customers that we had, we realized that our added value is not just explaining the technology. The reality is that the problem that we solve is that we bring innovation into a product of our customers. What that means, innovation for our customers, it depends on what they do. It may be a sexy new design that they don't know how to build, or maybe a new functionality that they want to add and they don't know how to make it possible, or improve the performance of their product, and it's not feasible with what they have right now. Why? Because the problem here is that basically when you try to build innovation, the designs that we define are dictated by how they can be manufactured. And the reality is that manufacturing limits innovation. That's a fact. That's it. So many times, even if you think something that you want to apply, maybe at the end it's not possible, or because of technical reasons or economical reasons. It doesn't matter, but at the end it doesn't happen. So imagine if you're building bicycles like here, bikes, and at the end you see one in the street and you don't know what's the difference between one brand and the other, and you see something like this on the street, first thing that you will say is, okay, how did they do it? How this was made? I have no clue. Well, and the solution, the answer to that will be That's because exists a new manufacturing technology, something that redefines what is possible until now. And now you can innovate without compromise. Why? Because basically you are harnessing advanced materials like composites. And if you think composites and these shapes is like no go, no, impossible. This is not no way. Well, now I introduce you to REINFORCE3D, and this is maybe an option for you. That's our added value. As we mentioned, as Mark explained to you, now we are a company that has a portfolio of products. The first thing and the main and the core of REINFORCE is our Delta machine or hardware, the Delta unit. But we also provide the supplies for it. In this case, are the fiber and injections. These are patented and produced by ourselves in our facilities. We also have the software solution that supports customers during design phase and mainly validation of injections right now. And we have services of consultancy of manufacturing. So when a customer wants to start using the technology, we provide them with the support to do it and be faster on that implementation. How did we do it? Well, basically with our growing team. Now we have a management team of we are four, myself, Mark Crescenti, and the sales manager and operations manager, Mark Rosselló. Now we're a group of 11 people, growing, but here also there's need to be a balance because growing too fast is also complex. And together with our shareholders like Eurecat, be able, and in this case also as well, the Institut Catalán de Finances, we're making it happen. And you say, Blanca, yeah, well, you have it all. That's it. Great. No, my dear, no. The future comes ahead and we need to keep working on that. And the point is that there's still a lot to do. We need to, as I show you in our development plan, we need to think on the new version of and new updates of the Delta machine, the new software solution, so the next phase of the software. We need to run a lot of technology testing in order to introduce our technology into new sectors to certify, basically. We need to think into new production lines because if we want to grow, we need to produce more. That means new spaces. We need to increase the team, but in a sustainable way. And others like all the marketing first material that we need to build, all that is also a lot of things that at the beginning you don't think of it or you think it's too easy. No, it's complex. So here we are. I hope that our experiences has been something good for you. And if you have any question now, it's the time.
Thank you so much for this impressive presentation from all of you, in fact, from Angel, from Blanca, and from Mark. It was a concrete presentation of what you have been going through, of your journey, of your personal journey, Mark, as well, and what you have been succeeded the past almost 13 years. So this is a demonstration of great work and effort and time and everything that you have gone through this incredible journey. So thank you so much, the three of you. We have some questions popping up in our minds during your presentations, but let's open the floor to our participants. If anyone has a question, please don't be shy. Raise your hands, turn on the camera, and shoot the question to our speakers. Perfect. Raquel, go ahead.
So first of all, congratulations, an amazing journey. So I have two questions. In fact, it's not really questions, it's more curiosity, okay? So I try to understand why you decided to invest in your carbon fiber. You said that you developed the machine and also the carbon fiber. Why?
Is it a question for Mark or for Eurecat?
Maybe for Mark.
I think so.
Yes.
Yes. Well, the thing is that the fibers cannot, the conventional fibers, let's say, the ones that were available in the market, cannot be injected. I mean, they are not prepared to be injected. They are not prepared to be pushed, let's say, inside cavities. They are prepared to be placed on surfaces or pulled, but not pushed. And for this reason, we have got to develop our own fiber format, which is key. I mean, we need the machine, but you also need the fibers, because with the conventional fibers, do not the process is not feasible, let's say.
Okay, good. So the other question is, you said, Mark, you said that all materials can be injected. We are talking also in thermoplastics or only thermosets in terms of polymers?
Yes, the thing is that we can reinforce parts which can be 3D printed or not. I mean, at the end, what we need are channels, okay? It's true that we used to apply our technology with 3D printed parts because 3D printing enables you to design the channels
and complex parts, yeah.
Yes, with complex parts, high freedom in all directions, okay? But we are not limited to 3D printing. The thing is that you can use any existing 3D printing technology and material available in the market. So we are users of the 3D printing machines. And well, nowadays you can print parts in polymers, thermoset, thermoplastic, flexible, rigid, but also titanium, aluminum, ceramic materials. So this is what gives us a lot of freedom in terms of material combinations as well.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
Thank you, Raquel. Anyone else who has a question? No. We have some questions. The first one that comes to my mind personally, Angel, at the end of your presentation, you had a super nice slide on the before and after of the collaboration and the continuous collaboration with Blanca and her team, with Eurecat and REINFORCE3D. So could you please elaborate more on the continuous collaboration between Eurecat and REINFORCE right now after what you have done the past years? What would you do together and how you collaborate?
Okay, well, the first thing is to say that Eurecat is a shareholder of the company.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are in the company and we have a position in the board, and when we help or push or are involved in the creation of a new spin-off, we really want to be an active part of, but without interfering the governance or where the company is going. That's why we have a CEO and CTO in which we trust 100%, and they have all the freedom they need to do to bring the company whatever they think. But of course, we discuss things. We try to bring added value. We try to support them in infrastructure. We try to use our network. And as well, at any moment that this company needs to grow, or if this company is going to be sold, however, we would prefer, or rather prefer, that this company grows and keeps growing and just brings new job places, and because this is part of the plan of the reindustrialization of Europe, and we are fully committed on that. So rather than selling the company, but this can happen, and from the very beginning, and we have a corporate or an institutional investor inside. So the investor wants to get in and get out, invest and de-invest, right? So we will respect this for sure, and we will not be an obstacle to do that at any time, because our mission is to make the things possible and to make the things as much as best as possible. So this is the role of Eurecat. Saying that, we do everything. I mean, when they were in the last capital round, we called the public entity saying, hey, if you have been helping us before in the seed and pre-seed, giving some funds or some grants for developing the technology, now would be the moment to enter in the capital of the company. And this happened. I mean, the Catalan government is part of the company as well now, in a very, very small portion, just to act as a catalyst, to make other private investors like be able really keep going. And we had we were so lucky because we found be able we really know each other very well, and they trust on us, and we are studying other operations because they are thinking as well on the industrial side of the business with this technology and many others. So we found the right partners, and this, I mean, Eurecat is like helping to orchestrate, interacting as much as possible in a very active way, but without interfering the company's own way.
Perfect, very clear. Blanca, you want to say something more to add on what Angel said, and maybe also explain what other funding you have received so far, especially during the creation, or if you have considered as well joining any EU funding projects and
Yeah, for sure. I mean, actually, what Angel just mentioned is that, as you know, I mean, we had the founding, the seed and pre-seed founding at the beginning with the company, of course, related to goals of the company. But as I mentioned, that was not enough in order to grow, because as you know, in a startup at the beginning is all burning cash and until you have income. So that's why we asked for grants. It's true that mainly them were from Catalonia's government, so from the region where we are. And now in the next phase, when we needed a second fundraising, it was at that point of the company where you are starting to make the sales, but you need more money in order. I mean, you need more resources in order to prove your sales strategy. And the point is that is such a difficult time in a startup where you are about to start selling, and you need, please give me some air so I can prove my strategy. And actually, that's exactly the point that Angel mentioned, that when we needed our shareholders the most, like, please give us this support for this space. Exactly, and it's when Eurecat appeared there together with the VC, and they called the government also, like, okay, now this is the time to support this company that we all have been building all together. Well, now is the time to face it and be there for them, and it's what they did, and that's exactly why we are. I mean, we appreciate it that much. Now the company is aiming into a new phase, more mature, let's say, and is when we are starting to bring the view, okay, no more on the paper, let's start to raise the head, let's say, look into the world and everything that is coming, and new customers, new possible contracts, and so on. And now is when we are facing into Europe. We are preparing to go to Europe to ask for the EIC and so on. Now we are on the time, because we still have a lot to do, but we have proved a lot already. So, and that's why we are now preparing for the next round, thinking, as you know, when you prepare for a fundraising, you need time to prepare for that. You need to have a planification, an organization, a plan with many years ahead. And that's exactly what we have done now after the second fundraising. And yeah, REINFORCE right now is in a really next chapter of the.
In fact, Blanca, let me add. The company is in a moment that is selling, and some of the customers are top companies in some countries, top number ones, some public and some private, and as well some of the customers are top companies in the world, number one. So if this happens in the next 6-12 months, that they say, yeah, just I need 100 machines, REINFORCE will have a problem. And yeah, a great problem, but we will have to fix it, because in the scale up, we need a lot of finance. And of course, someone can go to the bank and knock the door and ask for a loan, but it's not easy to get this amount of finance with a very promising portfolio of customers, very promising contracts coming up, but it's still not easy with the banks to deal with this. And we will just knock some European doors in terms of financing, because I mean, this, I call it the death valley of early success, of when you start scaling up. And if we want a really strong Europe, we need to push on that moment. And this moment can be 1 to 2 years, no more than that, because the technology is proven, is certified, The top customers are happy. That's why they say, hey, give me 100 more machines. But we don't have even the space to produce that. The space, the warehouse, the plan where the machines have to be built up. Even though we are just asking for OEMs or just suppliers that are close to the company, right? So, well, this is important. This could be maybe another debate, but I mean, we are happy to start to find these issues, these troubles.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for the addition. That was very important as well. Maybe one question before we close, because we are late already. But Mark and Blanca, you listed, both of you, some obstacles or current challenges that you are facing. Maybe would you tell us what is the most difficult part that you are currently facing into this journey? And one advice that you can give, just one, to an ambitious researcher like Mark, doing his cooking at the kitchen, just before we close.
Mark, you want to go ahead?
Yes.
I would say that, I mean, one of the challenges is to go from prototypes to products. I mean, there is an important step. It looks like probably when you are in the prototype that is already working and that you are close, but there are a lot of things to solve in the middle, in terms of certifications and in terms of making the machine resilient enough in order to enable it to be used by others. I mean, you know very well your process, you know very well, but the thing is that, okay, you need to enable others to use your technology. And when the technology is disruptive from the concept, I mean, it's totally different. It's a big challenge. The thing is that at REINFORCE3D, we are a really great team. We are all the people and all the colleagues of REINFORCE3D. We have a really big talent, and we have been able to develop the machine in order to make it, as we say, monkey-proof. I mean, the human machine interface and so on is really prepared to make as much easy as possible the interaction with the process and guide the users in order to facilitate the work process. And this is one challenge, but Blanca, this is a challenge from my point of view as technical responsible, okay? But obviously there is much more challenge in other areas, business, well, and Blanca can tell you.
But actually, I was thinking about the same, Mark, because I mean, I would say that actually the first challenge that we both faced was how to build a team when we are both, let's say, so different, but we needed each other that much. And actually, that's what now we have added 2 more resources to the team, and actually that's the biggest challenge that is facing REINFORCE right now. That we are developing that much that you need to, I mean, actually yesterday we had a meeting that was super funny because the Mark comes from with something that has invented that is super cool for the technology. We all were so excited, like, well, yes, this is actually what we needed. And Mark said, no, don't take it for granted. They are gonna, because yeah, the sales manager said, I want to sell it, I needed to sell it. I'm like, no. So it's like, we challenge each other, but yeah, I mean, the point is that, as I said in my first slide, you need to have a plan, you need to have a speed, because everything happens in a startup happens so fast, but we also need to have control. And here, Mark is like the father that is running the kids in the car, you know, like don't, or the colleague that doesn't drink when you go with in a party, like, hey guys, don't control everything, that we need to have everything secure. And he's like the voice of the conscience, and we all want to sell. And yeah, this is, I mean, this is actually a nice situation, but it's real. I mean, you want to go to the customer and to sell and to have something good for the company, but you need to test it and you need to do it properly. That's always a challenge, how to do it with a balance.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much, Angeli, Blanca, and Mark, for the time, for this wonderful presentation of your great work. And thank you so much for participating in the webinar. We will circulate the presentation of today's webinar, as well as the recording. So thanks again, and see you next time.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And
Bye-bye.
never surrender.
Yes, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.